Yo, what up YouTube? It's your boy JMystic, come back with another banger video. Today we're giving a full settings guide and a tutorial on the basics of playing Battlefield. Coming off their most recent update, I can honestly say this patch brings some of the most impactful changes, and there's some more changes on the way. There will be timestamps and chapters for each breakdown and explanation for each segment, so feel free to jump through the video, but we're going to cover the update changes and give you a guide for making the correct changes to improve your gaming experience. Let's go. So let's talk about the major updates and changes Battlefield has made. If you watch this video, it's probable that your settings have reset and the game has completely changed from how it's felt from when it came out to what it is now. I know that may feel like some bad news, but the good news is that the update was predominantly good. This update was a huge W, making the game feel more like the open beta from the release of Battlefield. We're talking bloom fixes, major visibility improvements, cleaner challenge tracking, and updated aim assist for us controller players, drastically improving the overall responsiveness of our inputs, which massively improved the situation on controller and has genuinely been a universal 10 out of 10 update. So with that said, I'm sure your aiming doesn't feel right because of the reset, or you're completely new to the game and you need some help getting started. And that's what this video is here for you. So let's get right into it. We're going to start from the beginning in settings with the visuals to the controller settings. Brief disclaimer, these are settings and adjustments that I have personally tweaked from gathering information from the top players. All the pro players, streamers, YouTubers, you name it. And with these settings, I've customed them to my playstyle. So I encourage you to do the same. Use this more as a guide and something to try rather than it being an exact thing you must follow. Knowing how this game is very immersive and confusing in settings, it's important for you to follow along. We're going to skip over accessibilities and gameplay because as we go through each category of the settings, they're going to be there anyways, and you'll see the changes after we get back to the top. We'll start off with HUD. As you can see from most of my gameplay, I've put my padding all the way to 100. Now, you don't need to do this. If I were to reset this, it is typically at 0, and that just means that like your map and all the things that happen in game, all the notifications and things of that nature are going to be pushed off to the side. Now, me bringing my HUD all the way up to 100 just allows it to be closer in, so I don't have to move my eyes super far, whether it be to the left or the right, but I can kind of see everything all centered and still be focused on the game. This is something that you can absolutely change. Hop right into the advanced HUD and icon settings. Nothing here really changed specifically, but I'll just show you guys this. My big map opacity is 85%. My kill feed is made by all, making sure I see no matter who it is. There's not to be squad, and nearby. Self, I want to see everybody that's dying or whatever in the kill feed. This both translates over for red sec and multiplayer. Didn't change anything about my vehicle HUD. I think as I start to play more vehicles, I may change that, but right now we're going to be focused more so on infantry stuff. On to the mini map. Now, I think if I reset this, it starts off as small. I made mine large due to the fact for both, again, multiplayer and red sec, you want to be able to see things clear as possible, and this is what helps. I put it on large. This is at 90%, 1540. Rotation is on. Interior zoom is off. You want to be able to see as much of the map and what's going on the map. Even if I were to reset this and show you guys what that looks like, it starts off at 160. That just means you're not going to see as much of the map. When people ping things, you have to open up your big map. This is not something you want to do constantly. I would advise you to set this at 300. Nothing else changes for infantry compass here. And then now to crosshair. Now, these are where things get interesting and things change. You don't have to use this color, but as you're going to see in some of the gameplay, this color is what I've picked up on and what I like, and it works for me. Now, you could change the color, but I would advise that you still keep the opacity and the intensity and put your crosshair thickness all the way to thick. I think if I reset this, it goes to default and it can be thin. I advise that you want to see your crosshair. I changed it to bright pink and infantry crosshair projection. And then you can read what each thing does to get a clear description of what these things mean. Now on to hit indicator. Now these are where things change again. The hit color stays as white, but as we get down, I changed the headshot color to yellow and my kill color to pink. And I could have made the kill color red, but I wanted the crosshair and the kill color to be universal so that I'm not seeing too many colors on my screen. The only thing I'm really focusing on are the 3 colors, which is white body shots, yellow headshots to know that I'm getting critical damage and that the kill actually goes through as pink. Armor soft hit color is like a light blue, and then I have a cyan blue for armor. Let me get down into some of the numbers. I didn't really change too much of this. I made it small so that it's not taking up too much of the screen and I can focus on the soldiers and the players that I'm aiming at. I did make the damage indicator a brighter red, so that's something you can also do as well. And then chat, everything is, I just have it when active and nothing really changed for that as well. well. That's real quick. That's all I did there. I have not played campaign, so there's nothing too much to go over. What I will say is that in campaign, you can just turn off in-game tutorials and your menu tutorials. If you're new to the game, I advise you to keep in-game tutorials on. These will help, and they are effective for you. We're going to skip over controller. We're going to come back to it because we need to manage the graphic settings. Setting your graphics is going to improve your aim. But once we set graphics, then we can go back to aiming and show you what that looks like. This is something that you want to have on. If your monitor can handle 120 hertz, it's important that you make sure that your equipment can handle it for you to actually put it on performance mode. If not, you're going to just be on balance mode, which is completely fine. What changes from here is my brightness is up to 55%. UI brightness is still at 50, and I put my sharpness up to 55. I could bring it up to 60, but 55 feels pretty good. Now your FOV. Now we're going to talk about this, and I'm going to reset it just to show you guys what it looks like. Because typically it's at 90. As you can see, I'm now closer in. And so the reality is, right, is that I'm going to see more of my gun and also not as much of my surroundings. And this is both effective for RedSec and multiplayer. What I would advise for you to do is to really have it either between 105 or 105 and 119. I used to even play on 110, but 119 works for me, that I can actually just kind of see, you know, all of my surrounding, everything in my peripheral, and also still be able to see, you know, all the enemies up close and things of that nature. Up next in graphics, vehicle FOV is at 83. I maxed that out just to see more. And then this is another thing, your weapon field of view. If I put this on narrow, you can see the gun already changing. Putting it out wide just gives you a little bit more vision. Now, as you can see, my weapon motion blur, world motion blur, and all these things are set all the way low. I'm going to reset everything just to show you guys what the game really looks like when you have it on 50, 50, 100. You have your chromatic on, your reduced sprint bobbing, all these different things. As you can see, the game just got even darker. Having all these things on, you see all this motion blur. You're gonna see all this weapon blur and things of that nature. And again, this is why focusing on graphics is gonna help your aim, because if you have all this going on, all this noise happening around you, it's going to be pretty hard to actually aim effectively. Now, with making these adjustments in your graphics, it's going to help drastically, and it's going to help your aim. So we're going to bring weapon motion blur all the way down. We're going to bring world motion blur all the way down, and camera shake all the way down. Same thing, reduce the sprint camera bobbing. You're going to turn that on. You're going to turn off chromatic, vignette off. I'm not even saying that right, probably, and film grain. And that's just going to allow you to see more effectively what's going on. As you can see, now it's not as motion blurred right now. And another thing, typically I might have the radio music on just to show you how trolly the game is and the devs. When you turn towards the radio, as you can see, the combat aim training thing is happening and they won't reset. It's just real quick. All you do is just come out of fire range, come back in, and it'll reset. But that's just something that's hilarious that the game added. Back onto graphics, as you can see, this is all that you have to do. And again, audio, and this is where things get a little bit more interesting. Audio settings, I put my master at 84. Sound effects is at 100. My music is at 10. The commando volume is at 100. The soldier and campaign, this is the voice that you hear in game, both multiplayer, RedSec, campaign, all those things. I put that at 60. Sound effects are at 100. Hit indicators on again. Configuration for my sound system, I put this on stereo, and I'm using night mode. A lot of people have used different things. You can read all the different things, what it says in terms of what the audio mixes are. I found that night mode is the best that work for me and my headphones and my setting. It just means a more narrow dynamic range, which reduce low end, suitable for listening at a lower volume and is less disruptive. That means when I'm just like trying to sound whore and hear what's going on, it makes this hearing really crisp. But by all means, you can put it on high dynamics and all the other stuff. Just try these things out that work for you, right? Of course, voice chat is enabled. This game wouldn't be the same if you didn't have voice chat enabled. I put that at 60 because I still want to hear the game more than I hear players. And then I have the voice chat position on flat. Flat just means you're just going to hear them normally, like you're in a Discord call or you're in like a group chat. From there, stereo is balanced, and I put down these sound effects and also the relief frequency. Put these down to 0 and 2000. Thank me later there. You don't want to hear all the extra noise. You want to be able to hear footsteps as clear as possible. And again, like I said, I turned this off just for the sake of the video, but again, that's where the radio is. So when I shoot things and I turn around, hear the radio, as you can see, the game is trolling, right? So that's all that is. Sometimes it resets, but Again, the devs just did something like that for fun. Boom. And now we're going to get into the controller settings. So if you already skipped over to this and you already set your graphics, cool beans. But now we're going to get over to, you might have issues trying to figure out how to get over the settings. Once you get over the settings, you go to the controller, you got to hit triangle to edit your settings in infantry mode and put it on custom. From here, this is where we're going to get into the nitty gritty. Before we get directly into the sensitivities, we're going to hop right down into controller tuning. And it's important that you do this simply because you want to get your controller dead zones down to where you don't have any stick drift. Now, again, because I'm also using the PlayStation controller, I already have fixed dead zones from my custom profile. If I were to put on default, and you guys are going to start to see, right, my game is kind of moving already by itself. And again, this is not Call of Duty. So my point is that there is no rotational aim assist for having stick drift or things of that nature, right? So it's important that you set the dead zone to a place where there's no stick drift so that your aiming and your controller stays at a stationary position. So these are my sensitivities for the controller tuning. Controller vibrations as off, vibration intensity is at 0, immersive, having it off just means that it's off anyways. Adaptive triggers is at 100%. And here we go, the dead zone is at 5, 5, and 70. That just means that you don't have to put your left analog stick all the way out for you to be moving at its max threshold. So that means that you can actually move faster, quicker, having a faster response time with your input. Now with your right stick, that's something that you want to keep at 100. So it'll be 5, 5, and 100. People put things down to 4 and 3. And again, that's depending upon your stick drift and the dead zone that your controller can handle. From there, my L2 and R2, my dead zones are at 0, 100, 0, and 100. This is something that you can fine tune as well, but this is what I'm using currently. Now with controller tuning out the way, we can hop directly into the controller settings, where again, my aim sensitivity, typically at 40, I put mine to 38. This is what feels good to me, to my playstyle. I'm still able to move fast. I'm still able to clear corners really quickly and not be out of control with my sensitivity. From there, I'm using vertical of 48 and 48. If you're not able to adjust this, you need to turn off uniform infantry aiming. Once you turn that off, you'll see that your settings change. You don't have to worry about the coefficient and all this other stuff. You just turn this off and you can continue to follow down the line. Aim assist at 100 and my aim assist slowdown is at 80. And just to show you exactly what that means is that when I'm aiming, you can see it slows down really slow compared to anything else. So that just allows me to have a lot more control over my aiming. From there, my aim curve I'm using is Battlefield 3, and my stick input acceleration is on BF4, BF3, and Battlefield Bad Company. Here is some of the movement stuff. Again, you can just copy what I have over. I do not have slide bound. You'll be able to slide anyways if you just tap, and I'll go over what that means. I still want to be able to dive, right? Diving is something that I want to do. So we'll go over the binds and what that looks like in game. Now we're going to go into zoom, and this still goes down to your aiming. Part of zoom, I also then put down my infantry zoom aim sensitivity to 90. So now it slows down even more. And then from there, I have customs, so you can follow along or find things that, again, that best suits you. So from 1x to 2.5 is at 80, and from 3 to 4 is 85, and from 4.5 to 5 is 95, and then from 6 up is at 100. I prioritize interact, meaning that I want to interact first and hold to reload, and then everything else is basically the same. So now we're going into the controller binds and custom mapping. Everything here has been the same, but just follow along, and I'm just going to go through this because I'm trying not to make this a lengthy video. So just pause it where you see fit. I think this is where things change. I have this to be up. I have my grenades to be R2 with my trigger. Nothing changes there. Nothing changes there. Nothing changes there. L3 sprint, circle, crouch, deploy, boom, boom, boom. R1 and L1 I changed to be shooting. I have click triggers with this controller. Melee still R3, triangle, blah, blah, blah. Gadget 1 is my right D-pad. Gadget 2 is down D-pad. And L2 is for squad progression, my other class gadget, and other stuff like that. Left D-pad is still toggling to laser. I've seen a lot of people, also bind the rangefinder to your R3, which is something that you can do, but I would not advise doing that necessarily, simply because when you're playing RedSec or even when you're playing multiplayer and you lead your shot, it's going to be bound to the ground or bound to the sky. That means that your rangefinder is going to go to like 1,000 instead of staying at 100 or staying where it needs to be. So I would still keep this on unless you're being stationary and want to do that. That's essentially my binds there. Again, nothing changed really for my ground vehicle stuff other than my FOV. You can change your sensitivity of your vehicle down to 25. I think it was on 40. That is extremely high. I'm even probably going to drop mine down to 20. This does not have to be extremely high. Boom. So I know we covered a lot. Hopefully this was not too much of a long video. I try to condense this video as much as possible. If you made it to the end, thank you so much. We're on our way to 5,000 subs. Make sure you share this video with somebody that's trying this game for the first time or somebody that needs help. Again, this is just a guide to hopefully help you in your game. So overall, this update makes Battlefield 6 feel slightly better. Weapons are smoother, visibility is clearer, and aim assist is more consistent. Netcode improvements are on the horizon, so that just means that, you know, bullets are not going to be hitting you around corners and your bullets are going to be connecting a little bit more sharper. Let me know in the comments how this game feels to you after the update. How does your aim assist feel now? And overall, if this video helped you. All right, y'all, I'll catch you in the next video. Deuces.